There are millions of levels in Super Mario Maker 2 that range from pure garbage to masterpieces of level design. Anyone is able to make and upload levels, but what of the best levels? In Mario Maker 2, we are able to see the top 100 most popular levels of all time, which comes down to many different aspects like likes, plays, and how long the level has been up for. Today, I wanted to take a look at the top 100 most popular levels of all time as of July 7th, 2020, in Super Mario Maker 2 and rank them from worst to best. Now these 100 levels are composed of many different types. Traditional levels, speedrun levels, music levels, and more. Even though these are a whole bunch of different types of levels though, they still have a lot of things that are similar to each other to appeal to a mass audience, like they're being super easy, and they're also very flashy. Now how exactly will I be judging these? Well, obviously a big factor will be how fun the levels are, but also since these are supposed to be the top 100 levels Mario Maker 2 has to offer, aesthetics, creativity, and theme are all major factors as well. As I said, since these are supposed to be the best of the best, I will be judging them quite a bit more harshly than I would any other normal level. You'll also see a lot of my preferences come through in these rankings as well, so just bear that in mind, and this is just my opinion and I don't mean to offend anyone watching or maybe even the makers of these levels. Also, since I've got 100 levels to cover here, I'll likely be going through most of these quite quickly, and I may even talk about multiple levels at once if the points apply to all of them. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and maybe even subscribe, as this was a ton of work to put together. But with that said, let's jump into my ranking of the top 100 most popular levels in Super Mario Maker 2. Spots number 199 both go to garbage refreshing special levels. If you all didn't know, these types of levels are basically just flashy for the sake of it and provide no sort of actual gameplay. They just spam random sound effects and colors everywhere for no reason. They're also very popular as well, and you can almost never tell any of them apart. These are the two only levels in the entire video that I booed, as they're just so annoying and completely unoriginal. Please guys, don't give likes to refreshing special levels. In fact, here's a Discord server linked in the description about booing them. Let's rid this world of the worst type of Mario Maker 2 levels. They aren't even funny to hate like hot garbage, they're just obnoxious. But anyways, the worst of the two refreshing special levels is refreshing special 5, as it's about 3 seconds longer, so this takes number 100, while the other refreshing special level takes number 99. Man, I hate these. Also, I forgot to mention, right here will be what number it is on the leaderboard. So for example, this is the 26th most popular level of all time, and this one is the 76th most popular. So it'll be nice to see how the game's ranking changes from my own. 98 goes to hardcore jumps, and this confuses me more than any other level here. It doesn't look good in the slightest, and it isn't even showing off anything new to Super Mario Maker 2. Like, this could pretty much be exactly recreated in Mario Maker 1. It's not even particularly super easy to appeal to the masses. How is this even in the top 100? Anyways, it's nothing special at all, so it gets number 98. The Haunted Roller Coaster is a similar story to the last level, where it looks pretty awful with one thick ground everywhere. This is slightly better though, as it uses the new item, the Koopa Car, so it gets 97. The final, how is it in the top 100 level for now, is Follow the Coins. It at least had a slight tiny bit more effort put into decoration, but it still looks very bad for a top 100 level. Like the other two, the gameplay here is extremely uninteresting and basic. For that, it gets the number 96 spot. It also doesn't use a car, which I find to be more fun, so that's why I put it above the Haunted Roller Coaster. Okay, so I think we're out of the pretty bad levels now, so we're gonna go to a controversial pick.
I did not care for
the Find the Difference levels.
What? How can you even say that, Dad?
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't like the Find the Difference levels. They're very boring and incredibly easy. The two on the leaderboard also drag for so long where they could easily be faster after choosing your path. These levels do at least look nice, but still, it's just not my type of level at all. I'm giving the original, which is the second most popular Mario Maker 2 level, the number 95 spot, with its sequel getting 94. I like the Ice Mario World theme more aesthetically than the desert one, which is why it's above the original. Really, gameplay-wise, they're basically the exact same. Next is honestly one of the most soulless levels I've ever played. It's called Simple Unreversed Speedrun, which is one of the most generic names I've heard for these levels, and there's just nothing special about it. The aesthetics are fine, the level design is fine, but it's so clear that this was made because it had to be made, rather than because it was wanted to be made. This was made by the person who created the number 1 most popular level, and since he wanted to become the most popular creator, he had to pump out a ton of mediocre 20-second speedruns. But yeah, this level is just way too basic, but at least it has some gameplay, which is why it's above the other levels on this list so far. This next one is the final How Is It Even Up Here level, and that is Switching Speed Hard. It looks absolutely awful, but the reason it's above the last speedrun is because I get the sense that this person at least tried, and the time on this one is not forgiving at all. Still though, for being a very basic speedrun and looking terrible, it gets 92, but at least it did have a bit of challenge, which was nice. These three are all levels based around being a speedrun at the start, and then an auto level at the end. The speedruns are fine enough, nothing special in terms of level design. The auto parts are all the same with hundreds of boos, which will impress someone like the first or second time they see it, but for someone like me who's seen these types of levels since day one of Mario Maker 1, I get bored of these very quickly. Since they each have nothing to really offer in terms of gameplay that are different from each other, I can really only comment on aesthetics, so I think the worst aesthetic-wise is Speedrun X Keep Run Mix Run 4, man that's a title, which will take number 91. Then Speedrun and Keep Run 2 will take 90, and finally, Speedrun Keep Run, which I believe had the best looks of the three, will be at 89. The next four are all similar to refreshing special levels as they're made to be flashy, however they at least have decent gameplay behind them. These all are nearly impossible to lose in, and the aesthetics are all decent enough, I suppose. De-Stress Land and this one in Japanese text are the worst of the four, since they don't really have a theme and are just a bunch of random things. I feel De-Stress Land is the worst of the two though, as it fails to live up to its name, as the sound effects only stress me out, so it takes 88th place, and the Japanese text one is a bit better at 87. The other two in this category, POW 2 and another Japanese level, both have themes behind them. One is about using POWs, and the other is about slaughtering Koopas. I like the defeating Koopa theme better, but it drags on for way too long, so I'm actually going to put it below POW 2 at 86, while POW 2 will snatch the 85th spot. Mario Arcade Neo is supposed to be a minigame collection, but the level is so messy that it makes it really hard to focus on the level itself. Many of these minigames as well aren't really that fun to do, however I do think the RPG one is kinda cool where you and your party take turns with Bowser to attack each other. Other than that though, the level looks quite messy, but for having some good concepts, it takes 84. You Are the Shining Star was a very confusing level, and I genuinely have no idea how I'm supposed to describe it. For the first part you hit on-off switches, but after the checkpoint it turns into a power-up showcase level. This also doesn't look great either, and is also very messy. Some parts were fun though, so I guess it'll take 83, a very confusing level indeed. Don't Lose to Thwomp is another level that doesn't look great, but I do feel that it looks better. Here you have to race against the Thwomp, and it's really just okay. It's not really an original idea either, however it does provide a decent enough challenge that I can at least appreciate. It's not hard, but it's more difficult than most of these other levels here, so I'll give it number 82. New Year's Trial is a level that has Mario do a bunch of small challenges to celebrate the new year. Back when we thought 2020 would have positive vibes. This level actually looks fairly alright unlike the past few, but it drags on for far longer than it really needed to, and there's nothing too special about the gameplay, so it gets 81st. Table Tennis in Super Mario Maker 2 is lacking quite a bit in aesthetics. I mean, just look at the starting screen. The idea behind the level isn't original as well, as I've seen levels like this all the way back on the original Mario Maker 1. It is decently difficult though, which I appreciate, and even though its aesthetics aren't great, it doesn't look too terrible. Still though, it's very short and unoriginal, giving it number 80. Don't Lose to Thwomp 2 is pretty much the same as the original, however it does mix it up a bit with the vertical Thwomp part, and it does look a bit better, so it takes 79. Let me go ahead and show you why I put this next level as the lowest music level. Other than that, the Super Mario Melody level doesn't sound as good as the other music levels even when played correctly, and its transitions between songs aren't that smooth, so it gets number 78. Quiz Look Picture Choose Item is kind of a neat concept where you have to see what's ahead of you, and then you choose the right item to deal with the situation, like picking a fire flower to light up a bomb. The only issue though is that this is full of soft locks. You can get stuck in so many places it's almost baffling, and the fixes are very simple as well, like just making this a vine instead of a spring. The aesthetics are solid though, and the idea is decent, it just wasn't executed the best, so it gets 77th. The next four are all pretty basic speedrun levels. They don't look bad, but not great either, and their level design is pretty unoriginal as well. Nothing about these are really bad though, but nothing sticks out about being great about them either. Deep Cavern Dash 30 seconds is my least favorite of the four, as it's 30 seconds long and the least good looking. Grinder X Speed Run 40 seconds gets 75th for looking better than the last one, but being really long, and the other two are both made by my homie Bruh, so that gave them a boost here. Plus they look the nicest and are the shortest as well. 20-second Switch Block Blast is at 74, since I think 20 seconds Cannonball Capers is more unique, which is above it at 73. The next two are both slide and jump levels, which are basically just mindless slide levels where you don't have to really do much, but at least they look decent enough. I found Slide and Jump 2 to be the worst of the two at 72, with Slide and Jump 3 taking 71. Spring as Switched had some pretty decent gameplay where you would have to combine on-off switches with springs, however its aesthetics really bring it down. This is an interesting case though, where I actually feel like they tried too hard to add detail that, in the end, made it look bad. Still though, the gameplay is alright, so it gets 70. Follow the arrow is basically exactly as it sounds. Mario has to follow the arrow no matter what. Some of these arrow things are interesting, especially the part where you have to memorize them. But overall, it's really just okay gameplay-wise, so it gets 69. Nice. Wrong Equals Right Redemption is very similar to the last level, however I find this one a bit more interesting where you have to go into the path that would normally kill Mario. Some of these contraptions are really funny, but the novelty gets stale kinda quickly. I still do find the contraptions here more interesting than the last level though, so it takes number 68. Munchers in the Sky with PAL Blocks is a pretty generic level. Nothing sticks out too much as being excellent, however it's this high up on the list as some parts provide a decent challenge which I like to see, so I gave it number 67. Beanstalk Fairy Tale is a tragic one for me as I feel like this one has a really creative theme behind it where Mario climbs up a beanstalk and then enters a giant's house. The gameplay is also pretty good, but there are just some things I couldn't ignore. First off, there are so many naked pipes where there absolutely should not be. All you have to do is place a small pipe on the back like this, and it genuinely make the level look so much better. The other thing is that it has a fireball spamming Bowser fight, which I've never been a fan of. So in the end, the good and the bad pretty much balance each other out, putting it at 66. The number one most popular Mario Maker 2 level, Celestial Sprint Speedrun, is up next, and it looks very nice and is pretty decent to play as well. It's just very basic and fairly easy, so it gets 65. The final bruh speedrun in the top 100 is 20 seconds Thwomp Temple Run, and I liked this one a lot better than the others. It looks nicer than the others and works great as well. It is though just another pretty easy 20-second speedrun, however it looks nicer than most of the other ones, so it gets 64th. Oh boy, it's time for a lot of music levels. The next 9 spots are all music levels, so let's go through them really quickly. I do respect music levels quite a bit since they do take quite a bit of effort to make. However, they don't really have gameplay to go with it most of the time. Since I do respect the dedication and sometimes these sound really good, I decided most of them fit right about here on the list. We Wish You a Merry Christmas looks and sounds the worst of the 9 in my opinion, but still sounds solid enough, which gives it 63. Evolution of Music is in a similar boat where the music isn't as great as the others and the transitions between songs aren't that smooth, so it's at 62. Kirby Green Greens at 61 doesn't sound as good as Green Green's long version at 60. Evolution of Music 2 is better than the original music and transition wise, however the sound effects get in the way of a lot of the music and are extremely annoying, giving it 59. Astronomia or the Coffin Dance meme song gets 58 as it sounds pretty solid, however its transitions between song segments were a bit lacking. Kirby 5 Songs Melody had the best sounding music so far and the transitions worked pretty well, giving it 57. The next two combine an auto level with music, which is nice as it gives you something to look at while you play the level. Gourmet Race Keep Run at 56 doesn't sound as good as Smash Bros. Theme Keep Run at 55. Phew, we're finally through those. That's not all the music levels, however, that's a good chunk of them. Kamek's Transformation Curse is the first of the Control Something That Isn't Mario levels, and while I do like those a decent amount, this one was just poorly executed, since I feel that moles don't exactly follow where Mario goes, which makes it pretty hard to control, so it gets 54th. Koopa Shell Grand Prix is next, and while the gameplay is solid enough, it really falls short in aesthetics. I mean, look at this. So for poor aesthetics but decent gameplay, it gets 53rd. Koopa's Love Story is another level where you don't really control Mario, but in this one, as the title implies, follows the love story of two Koopas. However, I feel that this doesn't have as much control as some of the others, and the cutscenes aren't that great as well. The part where Mario injects himself into the story is very awkwardly shoved in as well. However, I will give the level this. I think it's absolutely hilarious that they allow us to murder the Koopas at the end of the level, so I decided to move it up to number 52 just because of that. Goomba's Great Adventure is very similar to the last level, but instead follows a Goomba. I feel that the gameplay and cutscenes were a bit better here, but it's nothing extraordinary and is pretty easy, so it gets 51. We are finally halfway through the list, so starting off the second half, True Friendship has Mario travel alongside a Koopa where you help each other out, tragically ending in the Koopa's death. Since the gameplay is a bit more involved than the last few, I'm giving it number 50, though there were quite a few parts that could have been made a bit faster here. Zelda Gerudo Valley Seesawing is a desert level based around the seesaw item. The gameplay was pretty nice and the aesthetics were, for the most part, pretty alright. The only real bad part is the boss fight. There's just way too much going on, so it's hard to see, and the level somehow broke for me, making it to where one of the shell dispensers just stopped working. The boss is a good concept though, so with a few tweaks it could have been really good. The level ends with a short music segment, bringing the level back to the Zelda theme. Overall, a pretty fun level with a bit of a mediocre boss ending it, giving it number 49. Switch X Switch is the original popular level, and I honestly always felt that this was just okay. For coming out on the first day of the game's release though, it did a decent job showing what the on-off switches could do, and while I feel that many other levels have done the on-off theme better since, it's still a nice level to have given so many ideas to so many creators. Similar to the last level, its boss could use some small improvements, however here, all he'd have to do is move these blasters back one block so that they would fire no matter where Mario was standing. So for being a solid level, but again having just an okay boss, it gets 48. The next two levels are both about testing your reflexes. The first one, do you have good reflexes, is the easier of the two, which I feel makes it worse. Just don't hold right out of each pipe or door and you'll easily clear it, even with a pretty slow reaction time. Think Fast does this theme so much better as it requires you to react a bit quicker and it has more different challenges and variety of challenges, which is good for a reflex test level. Both of these are pretty solid minigame levels, and while the aesthetics could be better, it doesn't hold them back from the 47th and 46th spots respectively. The next two levels are both based around trying to get 1-up mushrooms, however they always escape your grasp right before you get them. Some of these ways of preventing Mario from getting these are pretty neat. However, it does eventually lose its uniqueness after a while, and I feel both levels could have been made a slight bit shorter. Still though, they're both pretty creative in their contraptions, so I'm giving the original Get a Life 3D number 45, as I feel the sequel level, Get a Life 4D, has more interesting contraptions. Planetary Exploration is about exploring space, and while I think the theme and aesthetics are pretty good, this level does drag for a bit long and is a bit too easy in my opinion. If you just stand on top of the ship, it's near impossible to get hit. I'm also not a fan of another Bowser Fireball spam fight, however at least they put him on a UFO to give it some uniqueness. In the end, while I do like the idea and aesthetics behind the level, I feel it could have been executed a bit better and made a bit harder. Parallel Universe is a level where, upon traveling into a pipe, you go to a copy of the same area, however the coins change to hard blocks and vice versa. This level isn't really that original at all, and if you play it as it should be played, it's really easy. However, I did have quite a fun time trying to skip needing to go into the pipes at many parts. Whether intentional or not, it was fun to do, so I decided to give it points for that, though it is likely just cheese. So for being fairly unoriginal, but having good aesthetics and actually fun cheese, it gets 42nd. Fire Dash Jump 20 seconds is another 20-second speedrun, however I really like this one as the fire makes it feel a lot more intense and fun, so that places it at number 41. Logical Solutions is a pretty nice simple puzzle level. There's really only ever one thing you could do at a time, but it's still nice to see how all these parts connect. Also, I was able to soft lock myself by somehow grabbing this POW, which I have no idea how I did, then being a dumb idiot by doing this. Also, no, this up here is not an anti-soft lock, or at least I couldn't get it to work. I won't hold this against them though, because it's a really weird POW grab, and then you'd have to be an idiot like I was in order to soft lock yourself like this. For being a nice simple contraption level, it will take 40th. 1-1 Homecoming Hills is just a generic traditional level, however that's totally fine by me. My favorite types of levels are traditional, so call me biased, but I had a pretty good time playing this level. This was very well designed as well to include secrets, which is another thing I love when levels do. I especially love how the pipe containing the secret is the only one that goes all the way down. I never thought of doing something like that before, so that's really neat, and I'll probably do it in one of my levels in the future. It is pretty basic though, so I can only really give it number 39, but it's still a nice level to play. Flowers Fall Lovely is a level about killing piranha plants with munchers. Some of these ideas are pretty creative, and while the level is very easy, it's still nice. I also like the transitions eating away at the flower quite a bit, so it gets 38 for its creativity. Mario Land Super Ball Shooter is a pretty good showcase of the power-up with some decently challenging sections with timing the on-off blocks. The aesthetics were also pretty nice here as well. Really the only thing about this level I didn't find great was the boss, as it's not really challenging in the slightest, as you could just camp over here. I additionally don't like how it takes the Super Ball Flower forever to shoot another bullet, but that's not really something against the level, more the power-up itself. Still though, the level is pretty solid at 37. Ninja Flip Switch Jump uses the SMB2 mushroom to flip an on-off switch whenever the player jumps. While it is on the easier side, the aesthetics were pretty good and the level's theme was executed very well. The only thing I didn't like was how annoying the clown car is in the contraption, but that was pretty forgivable, putting it at 36. Zigzag in the Long Winter is another speedrun, however the looks, movement, difficulty, and design here I feel like is a big improvement over the others, giving it 35th. Suntouch Sanctuary has Mario climb a tall tower, occasionally going outside of it, to eventually get a big mushroom to crash back down to the bottom. The aesthetics and gameplay were pretty solid, and it's got a bit of challenge to it as well. The only thing is that it's not really that satisfying to go back down the tower, as you have to jump for every row of hard blocks you want to break. But again, that's fairly forgivable, giving it 34th. It's been a bit since our last real combined segment, but our next three are all speedruns based off an automatic on-off switch to place and remove blocks in your path. All of these are pretty fun to play through, and all contraptions work excellently. The only reason they aren't higher is because they aren't extremely original, but they do each do the idea very well, and are decently difficult. Auto Switch 2 Sky High is the worst of the three at 33, for the flow feeling a bit off due to a pipe at the start. Auto Switch Castle is at 32 for its flow being a bit better, but it having an easier difficulty than Spike Auto Switch Hard Run 40 seconds, which will take 31st. The next two are both based around Mario going to a location. Mario Goes to McDonald's has Mario go to McDonald's, obviously, and order a big mushroom. He then becomes dummy thick from eating this and then has to go to the gym. This level is easy, sure, but I liked its goofy little story, so it gets 30. Mario Goes to Work has Mario take a bus to his work, where he then goes past many rooms before having to sort his files. He then has a literal boss fight before ending the level. I like this one better than Mario Goes to McDonald's, mostly because this one is slightly harder, but really because of its aesthetics. I really like how these stairs were made, and some of the rooms Mario goes past, like the stocks room, are pretty funny, thus giving this 29. Gourmet Race is another music level, however this one has a twist. You have to jump to the beat of the song in order to stay alive. This is a pretty fun concept and is actually pretty challenging, which I really appreciate. It's one of the hardest levels in the top 100. So for having a good mix of music and challenging, albeit simple gameplay, it gets 28. Disguise Mario is a power-up showcase level, and it does a really good job at that. It shows off most of the unique abilities many of the power-ups give in Mario 3. The level also looks pretty nice as well, and I really like the way Mario gets pushed off screen to get the power-ups. I just found that pretty creative. This level is pretty easy, however despite that it's still pretty good, giving it 27. The next two are both based off series that I haven't played, so I might not be able to give full appreciation for these levels. First is Super Castlevania Bros, based off the Castlevania series. Mario has to explore this building and go through many challenges to do so. This is just a pretty fun level to go through. I can't comment on how accurately it replicates Castlevania, but regardless, it's pretty fun. The only bad thing here though is that its boss is another uncreative Bowser Fire Spam fight, but it was still pretty fun throughout the rest of the level. Also, I find it funny that this is the last of the only two new Super Mario Bros. Levels in the top 100. Finally into the final quarter of this list with Super Metroid Mario, based on Metroid. This was another one that was fun to go through, and I gave it the edge here since I feel the exploration of finding all the power-ups was better, the aesthetics were better, and overall the design was better. I'm not a Metroid fan myself, so maybe if I was, I would rank this a bit higher, but I still find this level very fun, so I decided to give it the number 25 spot. King Bowser's Spaceship Armada does a much better job with the space exploration theme, I feel, than the other level on the list. There's very little waiting, and jumping between all the ships is very fun to do. It's funny to knock Bowser's army out of their ships before fighting the main man himself. Unfortunately, it's another fireball spam fight, however I'll forgive it since the rest of this level is a lot of fun to go through. There are also a few secrets hidden around as well. The transitions are a bit bad, but other than that the aesthetics were amazing. All this brings it to number 24. The key in the basement has Mario jump from the top of the basement all the way down to the bottom, only for him to have to work his way back up to the top for the key in order to exit. I really like this theme, and all the ways to get back up are fun and simple platforming challenges, which I love to see. The only negative thing I can think of is that it looks like it's cheesable based off the world record time, but that doesn't really get much in the way of the fun and challenging platforming this level provides. Super Mario Sunshine Sandbird is based on, well, Super Mario Sunshine Sandbird. Here it's made of winged bricks, which works very well at replicating it, and Mario has to collect 5 red coins in order to leave. This level does allow Mario to reset though if he misses any on his way there, which is really good. The only real negative I have is that if you jump down to the head, then it becomes impossible to get one of the red coins on that go-around, and also sometimes the tails will come off the bird, but those aren't really huge issues. For being an extremely creative level, it takes 20 seconds. Arcade classics included several classic games which were all pretty wonderfully recreated. Pac-Man doesn't look great, but it functions just like the game. Duck Hunt, while a bit slow, looks exactly like the game and is a perfect recreation for Mario Maker. Donkey Kong was a fun little platforming section. Pinball was creatively done, and tennis was well done as well. While it's all pretty easy, these recreations are fun to play through and see, so that makes it take the number 21 spot. Remote Control Master is another minigame collection level. While the aesthetics aren't great, not bad, just not great, the minigames definitely make up for it. These are all fairly challenging and fun to do. My favorite part though of this level is the fact that they added 3 bonus challenges at the end. I really appreciate this a ton, and these bonus ones are actually quite difficult. Having these really show that the creator really does care about this level, and that honestly makes me love it even more, giving it the number 20 spot. Fire PZL blooms twice, has Mario choose between either the Super Ball Flower or the Fire Flower, and then has him go through rooms that change based on what power-up he currently has. It's a really well executed concept as the player has to go through each area twice, once with each power-up. It is unfortunately a bit messy, but it has to be in order to make it have different setups for the different power-ups. Snowball Throw Run Rock is a great speedrun that gives a fairly decent challenge. It looks great as well, and the theme of using snowballs to aid you is very well executed. Nothing much more to say on this one other than it gets the number 18 spot. Then we get by far the most emotional level. My friend is Enemy. The build-up of the Mario and Goomba relationship, the small seeds planted of Goomba's true intentions, the betrayal, the redemption arc, and then the sacrifice. Oh, it's so beautiful. This is one of the most touching and well thought out stories I've ever seen, and I was left in tears by the end. This magical experience absolutely deserves to be high up here at number 17. Self-Destruct Activated is a speedrun level where Mario has to run through an area that's getting rapidly destroyed. This level is a lot of fun and is a decent bit challenging as well. The aesthetics aren't anything special, but the gameplay certainly makes up for it. Popular Song's Melody is the final music level on this list, and that's because the music is so extremely well done here that I had to put it up here. This is another one that has a bunch of different songs, but the transitions between the songs are flawless. Like, just listen to this for a bit. The song choices are also very solid, so I have to give it the number 15 spot. Also, it has this. Oh my god, stands! Scary Slippery Pass is all about using all the different snow and ice themed items in order to clear it. This level does its theme very well, having a bunch of different unique scenarios to use these items. This level also looks very nice as well, which I appreciate. The only thing I slightly disliked was how this sign here says go, which makes me think I'm supposed to run from the pipe. But I'll just run into a pokey if I do so. Still though, it's an incredible level, giving it 14th. Journey Below is about jumping into on-off switches to avoid obstacles. I've never seen a level based around doing something like this before, and it's very well executed here. The aesthetics aren't too amazing, but the unique idea and the great execution puts it at 13th. It's also fairly challenging at parts as well. Lifetime of Koopa is another level where you control something that isn't Mario. This time, it follows a Koopa who dies and becomes a Dry Bones for Smash, and then is revived. The transformations and cutscenes were really well done here, however the actual gameplay was a bit lacking. The level also somehow broke for me, which made me have to restart. I'm not exactly sure how or why the blaster stopped moving, but whatever. Still though, a very creative and well thought out level, giving it 12th on the list. Boomerang Trial is a level showcasing the boomerang power-up, and it does so excellently. It has a ton of creative scenarios, and I especially like the boss that's got a decent challenge to it, and is very creative, where you have to time your throws to hit 3 falling POWs. Its aesthetics are about as good as 3D World can be, as there aren't very many options there, so it gets 11th place. Now we've made it, in my opinion, the top 10 levels in the top 100 in Super Mario Maker 2. Starting off with Zigzag and Slide the Hard Winter. It's a sequel to the level earlier in the video, however it's much harder, which I love to see. It also looks just as good, if not better than the original, so with its good difficulty, it'll take number 10. The next 2 levels are up here for similar reasons. Both Snowy Slide and Liftoff are very well designed levels with having their main challenges, but also having many alternate ways to do these challenges for secrets, adding a ton of depth to these levels. That makes these levels more fun and more challenging if you want the hidden rewards, and since they both look solid, they belong up here on the list. I found Snowy Slide to look a bit worse than Liftoff, so I decided to put it at number 9, with Liftoff taking number 8, with its better looks and a bit more challenging secrets. Koopaling's Battle Castle contains all the Koopalings and has each one of them in a unique boss. Many of these are pretty creative, albeit easy, though still fun. My two favorites are Morton and Ludwig's, as those fit their unique mechanics the best. The level also looks pretty nice as well, so for its pretty creative boss design and good looks, it'll take number 7 on this list. Gimmick Land is based around showcasing many of the gimmick level types in Super Mario Maker 2 in one package. It does almost all of these great, if not better than the original levels that they're parodying. For example, the Lifetime of Koopa part was done a lot better in my opinion than the original level. I always thought a kind of museum level like this would be cool ever since Mario Maker 1, so I'm glad to see something like it done so well here, which brings it to number 6 on this list. It also looks great and has a few secrets as well. We've made it to the top 5, starting with Playable Mushroom, which I feel is the best of the Don't Play as Mario sort of levels. This is simply because the SMB2 mushroom just works the best, as it will always jump when Mario jumps. The designs for the obstacles are well designed to be fairly challenging as well, so for its creativity and great execution, it will take number 5. Thwomp It Chomp It Demolition Co. is in my opinion the best speedrun on this list. Its idea is very creative, where Mario has to run through several buildings that are getting destroyed, but on top of that, this is also the hardest level on this list. This made it way more fun to try and beat, as it provided a really nice challenge with a below 3% clear rate. For its creative concept, great execution, and very nice difficulty, it takes number 4. The next two levels are both levels based around the Link power-up and showing off each of its unique tools in different dungeon rooms. Each of these levels have a different room for each tool, so one for the sword, shield, bow, and bombs. Each of these both have very creative scenarios that showcase each of these tools well. So which do I think did it better? Well, this is extremely hard to say, as they're both excellently designed levels and look great, but if I were to choose, I think Beginner Hero Training does it better than Link Puzzle 4 Powers for a few reasons. First off though, I do want to say that Link Puzzle 4 Powers has a way better boss fight where you have to bring all the items together, rather than the other level where it's just kind of a weird pathetic fight. The reason I do feel Beginner Hero Training is better despite this though, is that it shows off more abilities with the outside of the dungeon, and the transition between the rooms is super good, as it will slowly construct the Triforce. Still though, both of these levels are great and are near tied, but I'm going to give Link Puzzle 4 Powers 3rd place, and Beginner Hero Training runner-up on this list. But my number 1 choice for my favorite level from the top 100 is Rollin' Rock Valley. Call me biased to traditional levels all you want, but this level is incredible. This is a traditional level based around the spike balls as obstacles, and Mario has to go through several small challenges. This level looks the best out of any of the levels here on this list, and in my opinion plays the best here as well. There are also a ton of alternate areas and secrets for the player to discover if they use the spike balls or just travel to a different area, which is really the push it needed to get number 1 here on this list. It is just masterfully designed, and even though it is quite easy, I can't bring myself to say any other level is better than this. It perfectly captures what a traditional level should be in its gameplay and design, while also looking incredible. So I, without a doubt, believe that Rollin' Rock Valley is the best top 100 level in Super Mario Maker 2. But anyways, that's it for this really long ranking. I thought it was pretty interesting to look through what are supposedly the best levels in Super Mario Maker 2, and after playing them, well, it's honestly just quite a mixed bag. Really, I'd say the good levels start at around number 49 on the list, with the excellent ones starting at around 27 or so. Of course, everyone has their own taste, but if you're looking for some good levels to play, I would do the ones from number 49 up. I definitely had a lot of fun going through a lot of these levels and picking them apart, but what do you guys think was the best level in the top 100? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and maybe even subscribe for more on Super Mario Maker 2 and anything else Nintendo Switch. Links to my Twitter and Discord are in the description. But before I go, I do want to say if I ever came off as too harsh to these levels, please keep in mind that I'm judging them harshly since they're the top levels, and I'd likely go a lot easier on these levels if I, say, just found them randomly in endless mode. It's clear that a lot of these levels are flawed, but a lot of them are also really great, so I'm really happy that I went and did this. This was definitely a fun video to make, but anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.